Okay, hello everyone. I am joined today by the wonderful Jane Rennie from the Extraordinary Training Company. And Jane is going to tell us a little bit about what she has been up to the first few months of this year. Rather busy, I think it's fair to say, Jane. And
Rather.
the program she's been running and how GiraffePad has contributed to that. So thank you so much for joining us, Jane.
You're very welcome. Pleasure.
Yes, rather busy for the last few months. Give us a bit of context as to what you've been up to.
Yes, yeah. So, funnily enough, I did an interview quite recently, and somebody said to, or the interviewer said to me, "So how does this program differ, Jane, from your regular programs?" And I sort of rather flippantly said, "What you mean, other than 2,000 people a week? You mean?" um, so yes, it's we have been working together with the Hospitality Industry Trust in Scotland, who basically provide support, education, and so on and so forth to tourism and hospitality employees throughout the whole of Scotland.
Mm.
And they just became very aware that during the lockdown period, Scotland obviously is very, very reliant on hospitality and tourism. And they became aware that a lot of people were really struggling. So decided that it would be a great opportunity to avail themselves of some government funding to run an education program or a training program. So they came to us, we had a chat about it, we talked about all sorts of things that needed to be done, and we designed and developed a 10-week program, which was run for 3 levels, so supervisors, managers, and leaders. Started off thinking, oh gosh, what if we get, 20 people sign up? So within the first 24 hours, they had 345 applications. By the end of the first week, they were nearly at 900. And they'd set themselves a target of 1,000 people. We obviously surpassed that very quickly, and we then had a phone call to say, look, we need to increase this to 2,000 people. What can we do? In comes GiraffePad. Well, actually, to be fair, we were already obviously using GiraffePad, but at that point, it then became a huge project. And so the rest is history. So we've literally just finished 10 weeks of the program.
So you said 2,000 participants. How many
Yes.
how many different trainers did you involve in the end in this whole process?
So in the end, we had 26 different trainers, including myself and obviously my core team, and basically that meant that all trainers could deliver the program over the course of. So we were training 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays every week, and we had 77 cohorts, so 77 groups of 25 learners amongst us. So, yeah.
Fantastic. So those 25 learners went through that program together over the course of the 10 weeks and formed, I mean, we saw some of the interaction and saw some of the comments and social media about it. They seemed like a really engaged bunch in all the different cohorts.
So one of the things that we were very mindful about right from the get-go was that we wanted to help the learners create a bit of a community, because we had participants from all over Scotland. So not only sort of Edinburgh and Glasgow, Aberdeen, the big cities, but also lots of small independents. And it wasn't just hospitality, it was tourism as well. So, we could have had someone who owned a glamping site, or people from the V&A museum, or from a safari park. So it was really, really important that we had somewhere for them all to interact. So we wanted the trainers to stay with them through the entire journey, through the entire process. And that for me has been the biggest plus from using GiraffePad, because we've been able to help them create that sense of community. And it's so interesting that now that we've finished the program, that's continued. So they asked us to start up a Facebook group, which we have. They've got WhatsApp groups going. They keep in touch with each other, in touch with the trainers, and that would never have happened if GiraffePad hadn't given us that collaborative community platform or space to be able to do this. There's absolutely no way that we would have created that same sense of, as I say, community without GiraffePad. It's really that simple.
I mean, that's fantastic to hear. I did also notice a few times you mentioned, and as you were planning this, how inexperienced the majority of them might have been with online learning, as well as it not being a sort of medium they would have used previously. So how did they get on with that sense? Because obviously you weren't bringing them all together in a room every week.
I would say the vast majority of the learners, unless they were from some of the larger hotels where I suppose they'd started to do a little bit of online, or they've maybe got internal LMSs and things. The majority of them had never done online learning. In fact, we had some learners who had never even been onto Zoom before. So we really were starting from scratch with them. And I think one of the things that made the whole process so much easier was that in GiraffePad, everything is under one roof, everything's in the same place. So they don't have to go off searching for different things. It's all there. We gave them some really comprehensive guidelines so we could help them make the best use of the platform. And so everything was simplified hugely by it all being in one place for them. So even those that had never used any kind of online learning before, they found it easy to chat, they found it easy to find their materials, they found it really easy to get into their live sessions, to access the resources, etc. So it was absolutely seamless from that point of view, and made the whole thing so much easier.
That's just fantastic to hear. So I'm hoping we'll now partner with you on phase 2 when you run that out again.
100%. I tell you right now, Mark, there is absolutely no way we will even entertain doing this again unless GiraffePad is the platform that we use, because it has been so integral to the success of this program. It really, really has.
Fabulous. That is just incredible to hear. Thank you so much for taking the time to share that with us, Jane. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Very welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you.